Welcome back to Up Front. Two Republican state lawmakers are pushing a plan that would take some struggling Milwaukee public schools and put them under the control of the county executive as charter or voucher schools. The county exec would then name a commissioner to oversee those schools. Senator Alberta Darling of River Hills and Representative Dale Cuenga of Brookfield are behind the idea, which some call a turnaround district. But this idea has met with resistance from MPS, and we're talking more about this now with the Milwaukee Superintendent, Dr. Darian Driver. Dr. Driver, it's good to have you on the program.
Thank you for having me, Mike.
You've heard the argument for this. They say we have too many schools, more than 4 dozen schools failing to meet expectations in MPS, that we've waited too long to address these problems. It's time to do something new and different. Why do you not like this idea?
Well, first and foremost, we haven't waited to do anything about these schools. We actually have a number of different initiatives within our 55 lowest performing schools. The commitment schools that works with 14 schools. 19 schools are part of the GE demonstration partnership that we have with the implementation of the Common Core. We also have the 5-in-1 collaborative at Carver Academy. And so a number of community organizations wrapping their arms around the schools that most need help are actually working to help us improve student achievement, and we're already seeing early signs of growth in reading and math.
So you are addressing these things right now?
Yes. Oh, yes. Yeah. This is something actually that I started working with when I came as the Chief Innovation Officer 2 years ago, and currently as Superintendent. I think another thing that we haven't talked about enough is the disruption that this causes to students and their families. It's easy for us to talk about this in theory, but when you start talking about selecting schools, the stress and anxiety that that causes in our school community, the fact that we do have 20% of our students that have special ed needs and another 10% that are English language learners, and the plan as it's proposed would not support those students. Choice schools under law do not have to provide those services for special ed students, and so the students with the greatest need would continue to go unserved under this plan. I think another piece, the plan does not flesh out anything around finances, anything around operations or infrastructure. It really talks about the governance piece. So the idea of one person, the county executive, appointing another person, the commissioner, without any other types of details around how it would be funded or how it would be operated is very flawed.
Let me have you address the academic achievement part of this discussion. Do you believe that if these schools, say 5 a year or so, were put into this turnaround district and run by charter or voucher operators, do you believe the academic results would be any different?
No, I don't, because we don't have evidence now. We have a public policy forum report that came out in December that compared all of the school districts in our city, looking at charter, looking at choice, looking at Milwaukee public schools, and no one is above 40% proficiency. And I think the idea of having choice schools become the method of choice when they're performing lower than MPS is currently is a mistake.
You think this is a silver bullet approach, that people are looking for a silver bullet when none exists on this?
In education, people are always looking for the silver bullets and the quick fixes, but you have to take into account what's happening in our economy as a city. Milwaukee is the second poorest city behind Detroit, and so if we don't take into context economic decline, if we don't take into context crime and poverty, and we think that all of this rests with the schools, it's really a misguided approach. You have to be looking at this as an entire ecosystem and how we're going to be able to improve student achievement.
Have you had conversations with either Senator Darling or Representative Cuenga about this idea? And if so, what can you tell us about those conversations?
I have had conversations with them. Both of them are very concerned about the educational system in Milwaukee. They are open to feedback and suggestions and any insights that we have around this plan. But they, like many other people in our community, want to see change. And we are working very hard at MPS. We are also working with many citizens in our community and organizations. Milwaukee Succeeds, Northwestern Mutual, GE Foundation, GE Healthcare, United Way, just to name a few, who are really working side by side with us to help make change.
What happens to MPS, to the Milwaukee Public Schools, which currently educates about 80,000 students? What happens to your district if every year 5 schools become part of this turnaround district? In 5 years, you have 25 fewer schools. What does that mean for the district?
If they were to look at our list of lowest performing schools and start to take off, 5 year after year, you're talking approximately anywhere between $40 and $50 million a year that we would lose. So it'd be devastating for our district. We would not be able to sustain the supports that we're able to give students currently.
I was going to say, can the district survive something like that in terms if you lost that kind of revenue over time?
No, we wouldn't be able to. And In my heart of hearts, I don't want to see our district fall apart. I don't want to see our city fall apart. And people have to understand, if you start to dismantle a public school system, you are dismantling a city.
Well, what do you say to people outstate, lawmakers, citizens, who say, man, they're just not performing the way public schools should perform in the city of Milwaukee? Shouldn't we do something different? What do you say to them?
Public education is a civil right. It should not be taken away from our young people, our most precious resource. And recovery districts undermine public education as we know it. We've seen firsthand many of the pilots, whether it's the choice movement that's in our district, talking about the lift on the cap on charters, starts in Milwaukee, and it eventually hits other urban districts, and eventually suburban districts, and eventually rural districts. And so it's important that everybody joins us in understanding that we don't want to see a recovery district come to the state of Wisconsin. It will be everyone's burden, if not today, then down the road.
What's your gut tell you about this? Do you think you're going to see a recovery district in the state at the end of the day?
If we are able to make the changes necessary in Milwaukee Public Schools, if we continue to push, if we continue to focus on what matters most, teaching and learning, I believe we can prevent something like this happening and continue to grow and make sure our students are successful with the mechanism that we have in place at present.
Dr. Darian Driver is the superintendent of the Milwaukee Public Schools. We appreciate your time. Thanks very much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
You bet. Coming up next, the media and the candidates. Does one not need the other anymore? It's my conversation with veteran journalist Ann Compton. That's when Up Front continues.